Happy lunch hour, guys. Okay, so I want to talk about a little bit more on the economic side of what's going on. Kind of explain to you the potential collapse of the U.S. economy this morning. And I want to give you an idea of where this is going and literally how it is playing right into the hands of the Great Reset. Okay, we all know what that is and what the nefarious plans are by the world elites. Is anybody familiar, or I'm assuming a lot of you are, with what the Marshall Plan was after World War II? Okay. Back then, after the war was over, Europe was pretty much decimated. And so, in order to rebuild Europe, the U.S. had, for all intents and purposes, between land lease programs and loans, had given various countries in Europe about $17 billion. Now, in today's money, that's the equivalent of about $220 billion. And y'all know as well as I do that rebuilding an infrastructure in 2022 is a lot harder than it is rebuilding an infrastructure in 1945. Okay, electricity is much more around, I guess, if you will. It's everywhere. The rural areas back at that point might not have had it. Now, of course, you've got computers and cell phones and high speed, Autobahn type highways and everything like that. So there's a whole lot more. So this could be a plan. Everything that's going on right now in Europe could be part of it. Okay, and I want to explain why. If you look at the US dollar index, okay, and what that is it's a comparison of how the US dollar, the strength of the dollar against a basket of currencies, including the euro, the Swiss franc, the Japanese yen, the Canadian dollar, the British pound, and the Swedish crown, okay? The euro obviously being the heaviest component in there at almost 60%. But if you take a look at what is going on with the dollar index is up about 11% in the last 2 months. Okay, the dollar is getting stronger. Y'all know as well as I do that ain't happening. Okay, but numerically it is. Why is the dollar seemingly stronger? Because the economies of Europe, like I said, the euro is 57 some odd percent of the comparison, are getting weaker at a faster rate than the dollar. So it's not the dollar going up, it's everything going down, but the dollar is not shrinking as fast. The strength of the dollar isn't going down as fast as that of the euro. So therefore, it gives the impression that the dollar is getting stronger. It's just stronger compared to what it's being compared to. That's all. All right. We all know the European economy is quickly falling apart. The Japanese economy is falling apart. There's enough of you guys from Canada on here. North Shore was telling me the other day about $8 a pound for butter. So the Canadian economy is falling apart faster than that of the United States. Now, if you look at what the Marshall Plan did, the Marshall Plan is what basically built the United States into a superpower, because we loaned all this money to Europe to rebuild, and they had to pay it back. To give you an idea of what it did, it took Great Britain 61 years to pay back the money that was loaned to them in the 1940s. Okay, free money coming into the United States. That helped us build, okay, because obviously there was interest on the loan and everything of the sort. So the United States made good money out of it. Now, this is where you get into the Great Reset, because there's a big battle right now, we all know about this, between China and the United States in being the world reserve currency. If Europe collapses economically, Europe's in a European theater war again, or something of the sort. Put pieces of the puzzle together. I've told you guys about Poland. Okay. Somebody's going to have to eventually come in and bail out Europe. Now, will it be the United States? Will it be the Chinese? Which one? Whose money is worth more? Who's going to have the capacity to loan the money? Now, this is where it comes into play for us, because y'all know that all we are using is a credit card in the United States. So if we're loaning the money to Europe to rebuild, in my hypothesis here, the catch is this: the U.S. has to borrow the money to loan the money. So again, talking about interest rates this morning, let's say it's a 10-year loan. All right, we're at 2.8 on the 10-year. We're borrowing the money at 2.8%. We have to loan it to Europe at, say, 4. Okay, and then the U.S. would make money out of it. I have a feeling this is a plan. Okay, but then China can do the same thing. And so do you have the U.S. potentially doing some, China potentially doing some, or is the greater idea for the New World Order, the World Economic Forum, and their whole crypto idea, this one world, sunshine and rainbows and unicorns currency, is it to loan that currency to all the countries in Europe to have them rebuild, which then now takes the entire continent of Europe and puts them under the thumb of the World Economic Forum? See where I'm going with this? Okay. At that point, if Europe is on this one world currency, and you still have the American dollar and the Chinese yuan, okay, now what do you compare the dollar index to? Basically what this is talking about is doing is taking the euro, and instead of being, for the most part, Western Europe, maybe a little bit of Eastern Europe, okay, but now it's making it on a greater scale, because if you add Africa, Asia, we all know what's potentially going to happen in Asia. This is the third currency that is going to come in and compete. What this is all doing is shrinking the world. It's going to be, instead of Europe being a continent, Europe is going to be a country. Just like Australia is a continent and a country in itself. Okay. This is economically what I think the administrations, plural, are trying to do. Okay. The U.S. administration is hoping, beyond hope, they need something to go right, that the European economy fails and the United States can come in as the white knight. But China's the problem on the other side, because China can come in as the white knight as well. Which way does Europe go? Then which way are Europe's loyalties? Let's say they go toward Chinese loans. Now Europe can't do anything with the United States because they're under the thumb of the Chinese rule. Okay? If Europe goes the U.S. way, then they're going to cut off all the supply of everything that they're getting from China. Okay? Because China's going to be pissed. So maybe their only option is to avoid both of them. And like the good little socialists that all the leaders in Europe are, they embrace the World Economic Forum one world currency deal, and that destroys everybody. This is why you get into the economics of your preparation. Because now, if you have Europe beholden to the World Economic Forum, this is what will give the World Economic Forum their power. He who controls the money, right? How long does it take till the U.S. caves? Because if they want to participate on an international market, they have to work with the international money, the reserve currency, which all of a sudden around Europe would be the WEF coin, whatever the hell you want to call it. You know, how long until China capitulates? Does China capitulate? Does the U.S. capitulate? This is what we get into, guys. This is why I keep saying that you need to pay attention to what is going on and you need to get out of debt. Because when you have a currency change like that, you and I aren't the ones that are going to make the decision what the value is. You know, all this talk about income equality and stuff, everybody's going to be the same. You think of the bills you have right now, okay? You're going to still have to pay those. They're just going to be converted to, like I said, WEF coin or something like that. But your salary isn't necessarily going to stay the same, because for income equality, your salary may have to go down to pay the strawberry picker's salary to go up. Now, can you pay your bills? Oh, gee, you can't pay your bills? BlackRock is perfectly happy to come in and buy your house and rent it back to you. This is what you're looking at. You know, I have a feeling that a Marshall Plan idea is what is in the cards, or what is at least in the thoughts for governments to get themselves out of this financial disaster they have created. Get somebody else to pay their debt. And Europe is ripe for the picking. And they've already proven they're up for doing it once. Why not take a second bite at the apple? Pinball out.